we want to maintain these layers here, but we still have to fill in the gaps over here. Now what we're going to do is we're going to shift to this strategy when we put these guys in. So we have basically converted it from a shape-shifting cuboid to just a domino cuboid, and I'm going to now use the same strategies as the previous one, but only with this guy here. So what I'm going to want to do is just kind of pick a workspace here, and I see two reds. I see that this orange is over here, so maybe I'll stick with I'll stick with an orange. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on each one individually. I'm going to keep putting in oranges over here. Which one is supposed to go here or here? And I see an orange over here and an orange over here, so I think this one. So I'm going to double turn this like so. And now what I'm going to do is move this to here. Now I'm going to have to eventually move this back, but move this down to here, so that puts that in. I'm going to bump this off to the side, and it doesn't matter, it could be any one of these. I'm going to move this down here. I don't want to kick this one out, so put this here, double turn, and kick it back. Alright, what I'm going to do now is move this back in like so, and now I can bring this back in as well. Okay, so what was the end result of what I did? I moved this in. So now I'm just going to move this in over here. So what goes here? That's going to be, I think, this guy over here. So I'm going to, this orange one. So I'm going to move this over here so that this will be able to come in contact with this guy here. So double turn. So it creates this. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to replace it with something that I really don't care about. So something like this one over here. So I'm going to move this out of the way, double turn, and move this back in. And now what I can do is I can actually double turn this back. So what I'm doing is just a lot of deconstruction and reconstruction. Now I can move this back. But if I do that, I'm going to mess this up. So maybe what I really want to do is substitute this for something that I don't mind messing up, like this, because that's not in quite yet. So what I will do is bring this here, double turn, and bring this back. And now I'm going to turn this back over here. So I'm being an opportunist. Now before I move this back to bring all this back in, I'm going to take a look at this and say, well, I've got two reds, two greens. Could I put something on this side? This green will come down to here. So I can try to make it to where there's a green one that can come into here. Kind of kill two birds with one stone. Well, I won't make it complicated. So I'll just move it back. Okay, so I can take a look at what I did here. This is in here. This is in here. I got one more over here to do. Now I can't say that I've done it this way before, but it seems to work. Let's see how far it can take me. I'll double turn this over here. So now I'm going to look for the other orange part, which is right over here. So I'm going to move this like so. So this is going to come to here. So double turn. As you can see, this is in. Now, which one of these can I substitute it with? Really, any one of these. Or perhaps something here. Nope, nothing over here. So I'm going to move this like so to get it out of the way. Turn this up so that I can bat this back. And I'm going to move this back to bring this back in, like so. I'm not doing any algorithms, I'm just doing positioning. Now I'm going to move this whole thing back in. Now notice as I'm doing this, I'm not messing up anything that I got with my 3x3, with my 5x5 solve actually. But now as you can see, what I've done is I've placed, oh, here it is I have placed all of these. So now I can look to see what else needs to be placed. Well, I can see green here. Maybe I should do my red next. So I'll move the green in here, this green layer, double turn it, and move this back, and then double turn it again. So with this, I've got green, green, green. Why don't we focus on this one here? Now pretty soon I'm going to come into a situation where I can't be so free and easy with what I'm doing. This can move over here, which is fine, but do I have something here that I can substitute it with? And yeah, it's this one over here. So this is very similar to how I did edge placement. Just put it in and then substitute it, right? So double turn, which brings this in here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up bringing this up to here. So I'm going to put this into this slot, which bats out the other one, which bats out the one that was here. Double turn it, bat it back. So now this is up here, and now I turn it back. Now upon doing that, I now put this layer back in, which is the one that I originally turned to get this side. You can see this appears to be messed up, but it'll be fine once I move it back. So that's okay here now, and then I can turn this back for the sake of posterity. Now I want to take this and move this back into here. By batting this one, I want to bat this one out. So put it here right next to the one that's going to stay here. So double turn, turn it 180 degrees, and bat it back. All right, so we're doing well, I think. Now I got a bunch of greens here to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the middle one here. So try to guess how I'm going to get the middle one in here and bat this out. You guessed it. Turn this here, put it in line with the thing that's going to stay, but just on the opposite side. Put it into this slot, double turn, and take it out of that slot, like so. So now this is here. Now what I want to do is I want to bring one of these over here so that I can start moving them in. How about this guy? So what am I going to substitute it with? It really doesn't matter. Move this in here, double turn, move it back, double turn, which is good because I put the red one in here. So this green is now going to do a little dance with this over here. Now I have to be prepared for what I'm going to substitute it with. This can be substituted with this because this isn't anything that's in as of yet. So double turn, it put the green one in here. Now what I want to do is I want to put it in and substitute it with this one. But I can't bat it out through here. I can't put it into this slot. I have to turn it over here, put this temporarily into this slot. And go turn, then double turn, turn it back. Now upon doing that, I just put this slot back in, and we're good. So now I look for what I just did, which is this guy over here. Okay, let's see what kind of a mess we've made. So we have everything in except reciprocals. Now this is here. The other one should be over here. So you can see how predictable that is. Now I have it set up like this because it's easier for me to visualize. So what has to happen is this has to come to here without messing any of these up. So how am I going to do that? Well, I need to start putting in reciprocals. So this green, it will stay green as long as I put another green on the other side. So what I'm going to do is double turn this like so. Because if I do that, this green will coincide with this green, and this blue coincide with that blue. So I have to keep putting reciprocals in order to make this happen. So this green has a reciprocal on the other side, just like this blue does. I'm trying to coordinate it to where I put everything in one fell swoop, so to speak. So what I'm actually going to want to do is look and see that the red one and the blue one are both reciprocals, but they're at the very end. So why don't I do this? Why don't I put this at the end here, and this stays over here to be its reciprocal. So I want this to come into here. So how am I going to replace this with this? So I'm going to double turn this over here. This is going to come in. This will double turn back and occupy that place over here. The end result is I have this on the bottom, red, red, blue, and I have blue, blue, red on the top. The end result of that is when I put this here, this will be fixed and this will be fixed. This has its reciprocal, this has its reciprocal, and this is being fixed as well. So now what's left? This is going to be taken care of, this is going to be taken care of. This has its reciprocal. This is a center, and there's nothing I can do about that. That's going to be out, but we have a way of dealing with that. This is going to be taken care of. So now I have to deal with these two. Well, this can't be taken care of, nor can this be taken care of any more than these two can. So what I need to do is I don't have another green to act as the reciprocal on this side, so I need to use another color. Why don't I use orange? Put an orange here, and put another orange here and here. So how am I going to do that? Well, let's double turn this over here. Put this in. Double turn it back. And put this in. So now I have two oranges over here. And these are exactly the same. Now, so too, I've got to put two oranges over here. So why don't I move this like so? Double turn, move it back, and double turn. So there are times in these puzzles to use algorithms and time to use strategy. That's what's fun about them. So now everything should have a reciprocal. And let's see if it works. So if I turn this like so, what I've effectively done is I've put all these in. I've created reciprocals here and here, so those are fine. These have reciprocals, these. This is now placed, and you'll see that everything is now placed except for this. So how am I going to deal with that? How am I going to put it back? Well, this and these coincide with each other. But I can't turn it back because just like this, because although these will be protected, this will be protected, these two, this will be protected, this won't be, and this won't be. So what I need to do is I need to put more reciprocals. I have a red over here, let's put a red over here. Then I have a reciprocal. So turn this in, double turn, bring it back, and double turn. So we got a red over here and a red over here. We got ourselves a reciprocal. So we have two oranges, green, the center that we're going to get back in, blue and blue, green and blue, red and red. So I need to either put a green one here or a blue one here. Why don't we put a blue one here? That seems to be ripe for the plucking. So how am I going to do that? Well, let's turn this over here, move this in, and now we're going to move this back to replace it with that one. Move this here and move this in. So you effectively put reciprocals on every side. Now again, we did something like that with this over here, and now we simply turn this back, and look at that. Everything is in. All of our 1x3 bars are fine, and this is fine over here. So now what we do is we just get all of our centers back. Some of it we can just place. We can put this here. I can at least put all my greens. Move this back over here. So there's all of our greens. Put this back here. What else do we have? We've got reds. These reds need to come in here. So turn this here. We bump that out, so we got to turn it back, bump it back in. Here's another red. If I move this here, I've got an empty set over here, so move it in. Double turn to line it up with the empty set and put it back. More reds. Here's a red over here, and I need to move it into this position. So double turn it here. And now I got to move that empty set back, turn it here, and back. Our final red, this one has to make its way here. So we're going to, actually, let me double turn that there. There we go. So this needs to make it down to here. Actually, so yeah, I do need to move this here. This red one is going to make its way to here. And then to move it back, we double turn it and move it back. So now we've got the reds. Blue and yellow, this just needs to come into here. So move this here to bump this out of the way so that I can double turn this like so. Move it back. And now turn this back here. Very intuitive. Really just assembly, and what we have is we've maintained this, we've maintained all of our centers, maintained here, and we've got our centers here. So now this has been further reduced to a 3x3 by Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a 3 by 3 by 4. So basically, now we just need to put these in. So despite the fact that it was a shape-shifting cuboid, we're reducing it to this. So how are we going to do that? Well, let's get this layer over here. So blue and orange. This is the complementary layer over here. So that would be here. Blue and orange. This is going to move down to here. 2R. Now in this one, I'm just going to move this one over here. U, 2R, UI, 2R. All right, so this is fine over here. We created placement issues here, but I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just doing each layer at a time. Orange and green. Here's the orange and green over here. So the next algorithm that just swaps these two will get all of these guys back. 2R, U, 2R, UI, and 2R. So as you can see, that now got all of these guys back. Move over to here, green and red. Do we have a green and red? We do, and it's the right one over here. Now the way that I'm planning this is, when I do this, it's creating placement issues here and here, but I'm not worried about that yet, because as long as I have 2 more to go, I know I'll get it back. I know I'll misplace it and then replace it. So 2R, U, 2R, UI, and 2R. So this is in fine. Placement issues here, but I'm not worried about that because I have 1 more which will place it back. Red and blue. Red and blue. Right over here. 2R. U. 2R. UI. And 2R. So as promised, it placed it back. And now this is completely in. Now you may be wondering, why am I doing this different than I did with this? And that has to do with the fact that I got this layer, these layers, and this layer. So I don't want to mess these up as I'm putting these in. It would have been a waste of time, but it went in differently with the 5 by 5 by 8. So I didn't mind starting here and just moving up, 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 all the way to the end. I figure I might as well save that. Save the pieces that I just did. Now this is going to be looking for the 2 corners. All of these have corners that are in, so it's just going to be edge swaps. So we might as well put the corners where they need to be. And let's go ahead and swap these 2 over here so that this green is where it needs to be. So that's going to be 2R, and I'm just moving this layer here, U, 2R, U, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R, U, 2R, UI, and 2R. Okay, so that was placed. We created placement issues here, or if you prefer to call it parity, that's fine. Now we just flip these back, which will take these placement issues out. 2R. Now, when you do the 4 by 4 by 6, it's not this complicated, but again, this is a higher order puzzle of this sort. So it does make it more complicated. So these are all in. And now we have ourselves a bona fide 3 by 3 by 2 solve at this point. Trying to maintain all these other layers. So green and red, we find that over here. And we find it's not in this layer. So how about red and blue? Here's a red and blue, and it's the right one, so because this is going to be flip-flopped. So 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. So that's in. Go to the next one, see if it'll work. Look at this huge placement issue here. Purple and orange, 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. Took our placement issue out and placed these correctly. Okay, green and red. So close we can taste it. It's green and red, but it's the wrong green and red. So move on. Orange and green. And it's the right orange and green. So, my goodness. 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. So this is in, and now we must have put in our green and red, which we did, which is right here, and now we just do the same thing. 2R, long distance traveling here, U, 2R, UI, 2R. Okay, so we have all these layers, we just have this one left to go. Simple cuboid strategy. Are any corners in? No. So we just randomly and arbitrarily do a corner swap. Something's going to be in. So that's going to be 2R, U, 2R, UI, 2R. Then we do a UI. Then we do a D with its complementary layer here. 2R, UI, 2R, U, and 2R. And this gets moved back. So now we hunt. Now we hunt for the corners that are in right here. There's going to be one of them. Might as well put it where it belongs, right here. Put this to the side. Now I know with no parity, orange is here. See? There it is. You could predict that. In the home stretch of this marathon, because all of our corners are in, and so now as you can see, we just have opposite edge swaps. 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U. That's in. Big old parity type situation here, but that's okay. That's about to be fixed. With this, 2R, 2U, 2R, 2U, and lastly, after this monstrous shape-shifted demon beast, 2R, and now we put it back in, and we have a solved. I've got to stop solving these records, world records, because it's killing my hands. Yeah, it's not moving. There we go. Okay. So there you have it. So that was that type of strategy. Slightly different strategy from the 3x3x2s as we put them in. So obviously what I've been talking about is these are all solved similarly. Here, as we put our family tree back together again with the new additions, should we need to. So now, as we look at what we've done so far, we've seen these puzzles here and the different ways that they're solved, pure dominoes, and the shape-shifting ones as we add that. And now next up, we're going to add the brick type puzzles, which we had described before. And as part of that solve, as part of that solution, I'm going to utilize a brick that you may have never seen before, or if have seen, not too common. So stay tuned for how we delve into that kind of strategy. Thanks for watching.